Warning, the information and interviews shared on this program might be found to be quite useful. Hi there, and welcome to another episode of For Mature Audiences, a show for the senior community and those who love them.
Now, if you didn't know, June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. So our show today will focus on local resources available to you, your family, or your friends that may be traveling through the Alzheimer's and dementia journey.
And it's likely that you know someone with some form of dementia because there are nearly 7 million Americans living with a dementia diagnosis, and 1 in 3 seniors are dying from Alzheimer's or another dementia. In fact, here is a startling statistic for you. Between the years of 2000 and 2021, deaths related to heart disease have decreased by 2.1%, while deaths from Alzheimer's and dementia have increased by a whopping 141% in that same time frame.
And right here in our region alone, there are nearly 300,000 people living with a dementia diagnosis. Many are more likely living with the disease and just don't know it.
I had the opportunity to speak with Sharon Covert, Executive Director of the Alzheimer's Association West Virginia chapter, about the disease and how the Alzheimer's Association can help. Sharon, a lot of folks hear the terms dementia and Alzheimer's, and oftentimes they may not understand the difference between the two. If you could please start off by explaining what the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's are.
Sure. Dementia is like an umbrella. It is a type of disease, like, say, cancer is a type of disease. Alzheimer's is one kind of dementia. You may hear of a dementia like Lewy body syndrome or frontotemporal dementia, which is what Bruce Willis has, or Alzheimer's disease. And Alzheimer's disease is characterized by plaque in the brain, which is unique to that type of dementia. It's one of the most common types of dementia, but that is, I don't know if there's a difference so much as just the semantics between the two terms.
Yeah, sure. And so the Alzheimer's Association is the world's leading organization to help combat Alzheimer's and all other dementia. If you could please tell us exactly what the mission is of the Alzheimer's Association.
Well, you said it. And we want to do this through research, through care and support services, through diversity and inclusion in all of our programs to make sure that everyone has what they need to navigate this disease, and through advocacy and public policy. And so, locally, we've just passed our third piece of unanimous legislation in West Virginia. Ohio just had a task force approved through their legislature. So, we've been very successful in that way at the local level and then at the federal level for different types of legislation to support caregivers and to support the infrastructure in states. And we offer support groups. We have them that meet in person. We have them that meet online. We have a 24/7 helpline. We go out into the communities and do education programs, do caregiver training. So there's a great assortment of things that we do. We try to meet people where they are and offer them what they need. The helpline is a great place to start, 800-272-3900, to just find out, to just tell them maybe what you're experiencing, and maybe they'll have some suggestions from there. I always suggest either alz.org or the helpline be your first step.
And those are great resources to kind of guide you in the right direction. But aside from those resources, tell us, because there are some community engagement events also that people in the local community can take advantage of. And if you could please tell us a little bit about those.
A lot of the things that when people first get this diagnosis, there's some pretty standard responses. And one is to kind of be in denial and not do anything. And other people get it and think, I've got to do something right now. And so, they start Googling it and they find us, and maybe they sign up for one of the walks to end Alzheimer's that we have around the country. All you do is go to alz.org/walk, and you can enter your zip code and they'll tell you what's closest to you. People can get involved with the Longest Day, which is like another fundraiser. Maybe you don't want to go to an event on one certain day. Maybe you want to do something at your home, or you go to a knitting circle, or you play poker or something and you want to do a fundraiser in that way. In West Virginia, we have the Brain Ball up in St. Clairsville and Wheeling area. And that is a gala, and that's on June 15th of this year. It's a big event, as you know, Tate, because you usually MC it, and it's in its second year. We've outgrown one venue and had to move to another one, so that's a really exciting one. And then if people want to volunteer, they can be on a walk committee, they can be a community educator, they can lead a support group, they can we call them community representatives. They can go to health fairs and take the material and help us to expand how we reach people, because there's only so many staff. And West Virginia's got 55 counties, Ohio's got hundreds of counties, so it's like you want to be at everything, but maybe you can't. So the volunteers help us to expand our reach.
And I think something that's really important for folks to understand through the facts and figures released by the Alzheimer's Association for this year, and this has been true for the last several years, that Alzheimer's and other dementia actually kill more people in the United States than breast and prostate cancers combined. And I really don't think that people realize that it has such a huge grip on our society.
Exactly. People maybe will die with Alzheimer's, or maybe they will die of Alzheimer's. And many, just the people that die of the disease is a large number. The people that die with the disease is even bigger. And we're here to say, we've got, for the first time ever, we're in the era of treatment. There's actually a treatment for early stage Alzheimer's disease. It has to be Alzheimer's. It's not for different types of dementia, but it can actually slow the progress of the disease for maybe 18 to 24 months. And I mean, in the last 3 years, we've had two treatments be approved by the FDA. So what could happen if you had another 24 months, to slow the progression of it? I think it's just something that people, you can be a part of research pilots that are going on. And that's another thing. If you go to our website, alz.org, and you input research trials, you'll get hooked up with our trial match program. And sometimes it is nothing more than a survey that they send you to see how you eat and if it runs in your family. And other times it might be something, sorry, I'm working from home, I heard my dog, but where you can go in to an actual in-person, research trial.
And I think that a lot of people don't really understand just how much of an impact that they can have by volunteering and getting involved with the Alzheimer's Association in order to help other people in their communities, because there are so many of us who our lives have been impacted. And from my perspective, I think that many other illnesses throughout the history of human life here on Earth have gotten a lot more awareness behind them. And unfortunately, we're just now kind of trying to play catch up with Alzheimer's and dementia to make sure that people recognize that this disease, unfortunately, is growing, and it's growing very rapidly. And if we don't have volunteers to help us to spread the awareness component and to do all of those things, it's just going to grow out of control to a point to where it won't be sustainable for Americans or the globe long term.
You are exactly right. This is a disease that people, in the first, I think when they first discovered it, when Dr. Alzheimer first discovered it, it was an autopsy on someone, and they were like, okay, well, that's what that is then. And nothing happened for the next, say, 80 years, and then like research in it's only been going on for about 50 or 60 years, like really dedicated research to this disease. So we're in the throes of the young side of it. But this is something where people didn't want to talk about it. They assumed it was normal aging. It's not. If someone is sharp as a tack when they are 2, they should be sharp as a tack when they are 92. So that is, something people just think, oh, it's just normal aging. And it's not normal aging. It's a disease of the brain. And just like you would get heart disease or, congestive heart failure or something, that's what it is, and it can be treated now. But I think the people have to talk about it. We're seeing celebrities come out and share their story, and I'm really grateful for it, because there's almost a stigma attached to it that this is these people are crazy or they've got mental health issues. And I had someone early in this, when I started with the association about 7 years ago, say it's not a mental disease, it is a disease of the brain. And those are two, they're treated differently. And I think that is what you're saying is very important, that people talk about it.
Well, excellent. Thank you so very much for being our guest today, Sharon. We so greatly appreciate you and the work of the Alzheimer's Association.
We appreciate you. We appreciate our volunteers. Anyone who wants to sign up to volunteer, we'll find a way to put you to work. And we really appreciate, we couldn't do it without you all.
And to recap some of the information we just heard from Sharon, if you or someone you know is in need, you can always call the Alzheimer's Association's 24/7-hour helpline at 800-272-3900 or visit alz.org for more information or to volunteer. Now, there are 3 major events in the area that you can participate in to support the Alzheimer's Association. Jarvis Law and Capital Healthcare Network host their 9th annual golf scramble at the Caddis Country Club on Saturday, June 7th. The 2nd annual Ohio Valley Brain Ball Gala will take place on Saturday, June 15th, beginning at 6 p.m. at Wheeling Island Hotel Casino Racetrack. And the Upper Ohio Valley Walk to End Alzheimer's will take place on Sunday, September 22nd at Wheeling Park, beginning at 1 p.m.
We are the first entity in West Virginia to own this innovative technology system for specifically evidence-based for people who are going through cognitive change. And it is called the Tover TOEFL. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's actually the Dutch word for magic table.
An affordable way to help Ohio Valley residents who may be dealing with the early onset of Alzheimer's or other cognitive decline, utilizing a very unique method.
Coming up, we'll introduce you to a local college professor who says it's not just her job, but also her passion to help those who are facing these growing brain changes. That's when we return.
With IC Cab expanding, we are now hiring drivers and dispatchers. Flexible scheduling, all shifts available, and drivers paid daily. All positions require drug testing and background checks. Contact us today to find out more or to apply. IC Cab will get you to where you're going.
Welcome back to For Mature Audiences. The main focus of this show is to let you all know that the Ohio Valley is abundant in resources you may need, and the Speech and Language Arts Department at West Liberty University offers services that you all probably didn't know about. If we could, let's just jump right in now. I know that you're involved with a lot when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia patients, specifically through the university. So if you could please tell us about the specific program that we know about, which is your clinic-supported support groups.
We cover a lot of topics in the group. So we cover dementia staging, hearing health and how it attributes to social interaction. We cover the importance of physical activity and coping strategies for caregivers, dealing with communication breakdowns, anything that falls within our scope of practice as far as being communication sciences field. We try to cover and help caregivers or individuals living with dementia as best we can in that group.
And I know that you also have some special initiatives under that group and under the programming there at West Liberty University that deal with trying to preserve the cognitive health for individuals in their early stages for as long as possible. So if you could please tell us a little bit more about that.
Our goal is to provide a comfortable learning environment for the students and ensure positive outcomes to improve the quality of life of our patients. So a community support group fit right in with our mission. But our clinic itself is a place where you can come and receive evaluation and treatment sessions in any communication or swallowing disorder. You'd be matched with one of our WLU students, but supervised by one of us licensed and certified speech language pathologists or audiologists. And so our hearing clinic is fully functioning for comprehensive assessment and treatment of hearing disorders, including the sale of hearing aids, which we sell those at cost. So if this is something that people are looking at and saying, wow, it's not covered by my insurance or Medicare or something of the sort, our hearing aid dispensement is a little bit cheaper than some of the other places because it is a university clinic. And then our speech clinic is, I'll just kind of talk specifically what we do for patients with cognitive decline. So we utilize evidence-based standardized assessments that actually are sensitive to detecting mild cognitive impairment, which could give people more time to incorporate lifestyle changes that preserve cognitive health, incorporate strategies, and maybe just prepare for the future. So we're really passionate about helping the adults in the community that are experiencing some cognitive changes, even if it's just something like, man, I'm misplacing items more often than usual, or I'm forgetting things, or, conversations are kind of getting shortchanged with me because I feel like I'm not coming up with the words. It might not be dementia or Alzheimer's, but it's always good to know. So we can kind of be a first step in doing one of those standardized assessments. And then we don't diagnose dementia or Alzheimer's. We only diagnose communication disorders. So we would send you to a place that has a full diagnostic workup if there were concerns based off of the standardized assessments that we provide.
And if you could, please, Sarah, tell us a little bit about what fueled your passion for getting involved and really trying to help these folks. Because, of course, we know that you deal with communication disorders and speech pathology, but how do those two worlds kind of collide, if you will, when it comes to helping individuals with a dementia diagnosis?
So I have been a speech language pathologist for over 20 years, giving away my age there, but most of the population that I've worked with has been in inpatient rehab, skilled nursing facilities, long-term care, some outpatient. So I've worked with adults most of my career. And just as the years have gone by, I've just noticed more and more that caregivers are trying to keep their loved ones at home as long as possible if there is cognitive decline. And then when they come to our facilities, I notice that sometimes there's just a lot of information that maybe the caregiver or the person with mild cognitive impairment at the time could have had that they didn't have. And so I was really passionate about being better at giving dementia health communication. And actually, my PhD research was housed within that area. So I actually interviewed 12 participants in the Ohio Valley that are currently caring for a parent with dementia. And I basically just asked them questions about, like, how do you get your information? What is missing from the searches that you do? Do you even like to go to support groups? What does support look like for you? And we know there's lots of organizations out there, Alzheimer's Association, Positive Approach to Care, Dementia Society of America. I know I'm only naming a few, but sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. And so my question to them was, how can we make it less overwhelming and more functional for you? So that is kind of where I'm at today after working with patients all this time and trying to be the best interventionist as I could be while supporting caregivers. And then I landed this job at West Liberty University. And so it has really allowed me to really expand my knowledge and then use the resources that we have within the university to be an arm of support wherever I can. So that is my origin story.
And that's fantastic because you also have recognized, and we all know this now based on the facts and figures that have been released by the Alzheimer's Association for 2024, but we have nearly 7 million Americans who are living with a dementia diagnosis. And that does not account for the numbers of people who live in rural communities that don't have adequate access to healthcare. Especially here in Appalachia, we know that there are a lot of people who either don't seek out medical treatment or don't have access to it. So in my mind and my fear is that we have so many people, of course, we know 300,000 within our region are diagnosed, but so many more are undiagnosed because of those reasons I just mentioned. So I think that it's fantastic that you have really taken the reins there and taken your passion and your background in language speech pathology and kind of intermeshed the two of them
to do what you're doing. And so aside from what you're doing there at West Liberty University with the support groups and everything, you also are a community educator for the Alzheimer's Association, and you also host a support group off of the Hill as well to make things a little bit more accessible for folks who may be maybe apprehensive about traveling up to West Liberty.
Our support group actually only meets off the Hill. That's why we specifically
Oh, good.
we specifically chose that location, because we know sometimes geographically coming to the Hill isn't always conducive, especially for people where time is a commodity, and maybe leaving their loved one to come and get that hour of support that drive time might be essential to what they can get out of that hour of support. So we meet at the First Christian Church Disciples of Christ on National Road. The pastor and his wife there, Alicia and Kenny Hardway, have allowed us to use that space for free. So it's just been super for us because it's very centrally located in the city of Wheeling, and the space is really like it's kind of like home. It's got a bunch of couches. It's not like sitting in a little classroom. We get to really kind of share with each other, whether it's just a social support need. Hey, I'm going through this and I just really need somebody to tell me, how you got through this, or maybe I just need you to listen to me so I feel validated. Or we do have some participants that arrive that actually are going through some brain change. And so we try to get the students involved in engaging them and some of the different activities that we do. And it really does end up being a very rewarding hour. And it's not necessarily just for people that are going through brain change or caregivers of. It can be for people that are looking to preserve their own cognitive health, because we do talk about a lot of strategies in that group. It can be for friends of people that are caregivers, because maybe the caregiver can't leave the home themselves. And so maybe they just kind of bring that information back to their friends. Again, we have students coming, so sometimes their parents come when the students present. So we do have a lot of fun there. We are the first entity in West Virginia to own this innovative technology system for specifically evidence-based for people who are going through cognitive change. And it is called the TOVER-TOEFL. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's actually the Dutch word for magic table. And so it was created in the Netherlands by Dr. Hester Lareach. I hope I'm saying that right, who actually set out to study if light projections onto a surface where someone's drink would be located would possibly stimulate that person to reach for the drink and take a drink. Because we know as cognitive decline progresses, sometimes that initiation is not there. And so the researcher was trying to figure out ways to get a spontaneous reaction to, oh, I need to take a drink to improve hydration. But what really happened was it was more of an awakening of engagement that she noticed. So the individuals in the study who were already living with cognitive decline that accompanies dementia began to actually purposefully play with the light projection. And so Hester collaborated with a design team to create this TOVER-TOEFL system. And so it projects these interactive lights games, kind of like, remember the Xbox Connect, where your hands would kind of make the movements happen, with all these vibrant colors onto any surface. So you can put it on the floor, you can put it on a table, and then the sensors within the system will pick up hand movements and gestures. And so the large scale studies that have scientifically been conducted indicate that the TOVER-TOEFL magic table affects social emotional behaviors, increases physical activity, and contributes to a lot of engagement and social interaction. So it's evidence-based for populations with cognitive disorders to make a difference in those areas. And so thanks to grant funding by Milan Pusker Foundation, our clinic now has this innovative technology. And so we're really excited to get started with it and maybe even expand our services to more outside of mild cognitive impairment and looking toward even some moderate stage dementia.
Dr. Alig, tell us how, if someone is interested in learning more about the many services that you provide, how do they get in contact with you and take advantage of what you are doing there with West Liberty? And then additionally, let us know also when you host your support groups as well?
Our clinic website is part of the West Liberty University website. So it's kind of a derivative. So it's under Communication Sciences and Disorders. And then there's a link for Speech and Hearing Clinic. But the phone number is area code 304-336-8199. And so our administrative assistant fields all of the questions that have to do with our services, support group, evaluation treatment, and she can schedule you if you want to just come in and get an assessment, or if you have any questions and she can't answer, she gets that information to us and then we reach out to you. You can also email me, sarah.alig@westliberty.edu if you have specific questions that you want to ask me. And then our support group meets the fourth Wednesday of every month at 4 p.m. at the First Christian Church Disciples of Christ on National Road. And we do not change that. The only time sometimes we don't meet is during Christmas, because that fourth Wednesday sometimes lands on or near Christmas. And so everybody kind of wants to be with family that month. But every other month, all of the 11 months, we meet at the same time, same place, just to make sure that it's routine and consistent for anybody that's new to it or, would like to be there.
Excellent. Well, and I also think that what you did with the planning of the support groups is something that is really memorable also. It's the fourth Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So I think that makes it easy for folks to remember. Dr. Alig, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and I look forward to hearing from everyone.
For more information about the services they provide, either call the Speech and Hearing Clinic at West Liberty University at 304-336-8199 or visit westliberty.edu. And if you would like to attend one of Dr. Alig's dementia support groups, remember they take place on the fourth Wednesday of each month at 4 p.m. at the First Christian Church Disciples of Christ, located at 1343 National Road in Wheeling, near the Altenheim Community and Welty.
And up next on For Mature Audiences, there's a new program at the Howard Long Wellness Center in Wheeling that's good for the brain and the body. And we're going to find out all about it in our Aging Awesomely segment, so stay tuned.
ICCAB offers 24/7 taxi services across the Ohio Valley, and we're growing. We now offer services in Brooke and Hancock counties. We offer safe and reliable transportation, courier services, corporate travel, and more. Contact us today for your next ride.
Doing something that engages you in mind, body, and spirit can be a key to keeping you young at heart, and that's exactly the premise of a special class offered at the Howard Long Wellness Center. Let's head over to Sherrie to find out more in this month's Aging Awesomely segment.
Thanks, Tate. That class is called Healthy Body, Healthy Brain, and it's being led by someone who may look familiar to you, Dr. Judy Romano. Dr. Judy has been a well-known pediatrician in the Ohio Valley for decades, and now she's designing a new chapter in her life that's helping people have not just healthy bodies, but also healthy brains, and I would even say healthy spirits. So today I want to thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Judy.
Hi, Sherrie. Thanks for asking me.
So first, let's start with the transition of pediatrician to now helping people, stay healthy with their brains and their bodies.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense at first blush, does it? In fact, somebody asked me that just the other day. But the reason, as a pediatrician, I was really interested in early brain development. And in fact, I was on a national committee for the American Academy of Pediatrics when we first started looking at the effects of adverse childhood events on brain function, and that really became a passion of mine. Fast forward a couple of decades, and I started getting interested in yoga and meditation and the effect that that has on healthy brain aging. At the same time, I just ran across a study that was done at West Virginia University on the use of meditation and its effect on folks that were suffering from dementia. So needless to say, I went down that rabbit hole, which led me to the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation. They have a special educational system called brain longevity training. So I took that training, and that just dovetails perfectly with another passion of mine, yoga. So that's sort of how it happened.
And so the more you were sharing this with people, the more it kind of evolved into, well, let's create something that, we can do as a group. Because you know what? I say the valley is an aging valley. And so if this can help us age healthy in body and brain, and I think that a lot of times we're always thinking about our body breaking down, but our brains, we have to use it or lose it, right?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And when you look at the statistics of what happens to people as they age in terms of their brain health, it's absolutely frightening. There right now in the United States, there's estimated to be about 50 million people who suffer from dementia, who suffer from Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's is not the only type of dementia, of course. So anything that affects someone's ability to express themselves, their ability to function, and of course, we all know, keep your memory. Mm-hmm. That is the effect. So what happened as I was teaching yoga classes over at the Howard Long Wellness Center, especially the gentle yoga classes that tended to be interesting and tend to have folks that were of a certain age, I should say, I would throw in some of the brain exercises and some of the yoga and meditation that had been shown to help with dementia and to keep the brain healthy. And people just absolutely loved it. So that's what led to us then having, instead of just sprinkling into classes, maybe what we needed to do was have something dedicated to this topic. So that's where I came up with the Healthy Brain, Healthy Body class.
Okay, and so tell us, it's a sprinkling of yoga, it's education, it's a lot of meditation practices, but one of the things that I think I love about this is all research-based.
Yes, absolutely. Everything we do in the class is evidence-based. I started using the curriculum from the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation. They have a 4-pillar approach to healthy brain aging. And it's things that won't surprise you. It's exercising your mind and your body. It's good nutrition. It's meditation. It's spirituality. And within those 4 pillars, also the importance of relationship building and socialization. So everything that I learned from that training and everything that I present in the class has a research base behind it.
And so it is, you don't have to be, when people think of yoga, they think of these stretches and the flexibility, but you can do some of this seated in a chair, correct? I'm just trying to think about, is it open to anybody of any ability?
Absolutely. We have folks in that class from 30-year-olds to 87-year-olds. And we do some movement in the class, but it's not very aggressive movement. The class is more looking at, there's an educational component to it. So, for example, what are the factors that help prevent poor brain aging? Okay, and so we pick one of those, for example, for the week, and we go into that a little bit. So, for example, it could be, okay, people tell you to exercise. Well, what's the data behind that? What does the research show you? What kind of exercise? How much should you exercise? Or sleep. Sleep is a big one, and studies have shown that it's profound effect on your brain aging if you don't have adequate sleep. That's where the brain heals itself every night. So we'll talk about sleep. And then we talk about, as you know, about meditation. And in particular, what types of meditation have been shown to be appropriate and to be effective.
And I just love that you do have people of all ages. So I do have a question for you. When is the class, and is it a course of classes, or is it kind of evergreen where anyone can join at any time? Or is there, a certain, schedule for this?
That's a great question. And actually, when we started out, we said it's going to be a 6-week class. Well, that was 6 months ago, and we're still going strong. So what we're doing, we are repeating some of the topics, but if folks in the class have a special request that we do maybe for the next week, then we do that. But yeah, it is ongoing at this point.
And in what days and what times?
It's Tuesdays from 10:30 until 11:30. And we are very committed to making this class accessible for anyone who wants to come in the community. So what do I mean by that? Well, number one, you do not have to be a member of Howard Long Wellness Center to come to the class. Number two, the first class is free. So if you come and you don't like it, that's okay, but we'll make sure you like it. And the third thing is, if you do like the class, you can buy a pass for Howard Long Wellness Center. And that pass is $30 for 10 classes. And that pass will get you into any yoga class. And there's some other classes too, Tai Chi, and my class with a healthy brain and healthy body.
I think
it's a pretty good deal.
I think it's a really good deal, and I think that people at least should try it, because trying something new is healthy for your brain as well.
Absolutely, yes.
So let's talk about you and what you think are the keys to healthy aging.
Well, I know a good bit about the brain, and I know a good bit about health, and it just makes sense that following these things that we've already talked about, the pillars, are crucial. We have to keep moving. Moving is so important to our health. But at the same time, diet, oh my gosh, the research behind diet and brain aging is profound. I just presented a new study to the group yesterday on that. And we talk a lot about the different diets that are out there and how they relate to brain health. So my personal belief is that diet is very, very important. Spirituality. And not that by spirituality, I don't necessarily mean religion. In fact, I don't mean religion at all. I mean spirituality. Having a purpose in life. Again, studies show how very important that is. Socialization, staying in touch with people, doing activities with people that are like-minded with you. That is very important. Gratitude. Gratitude leads to joy. Again, lots of beautiful studies done on what happens to the brain when you just allow yourself to be grateful, allow yourself to feel joy. And being in nature. We live in a beautiful, beautiful area, and just getting outside and taking a walk. So all of these things together help us age well, stay happy, stay healthy, and get the most out of life.
And if I may I share your age?
Absolutely.
Dr. Judy is 72 years old and showed no signs of stopping, just transitioning, right? Transitioning from one field to the next.
Even when I don't mean to.
Yeah, and I think that, that engagement is so healthy. Yeah. And so one last question for you. Is it ever too late to get started on something that is a healthy path? Because I think that a lot of people go, it's just too late, I'm just
It's never, ever, ever too late. And the other thing is, it doesn't have to be the whole enchilada. If you are completely happy with your diet and you don't want to be making changes, then you don't have to make changes in your diet. But what you do need, and what I feel my role is, both as a yoga teacher and as a health practitioner, is to give you the information. People need the information. Then they can make up their own mind. And you, as an individual, then, can pick and choose what's going to work for you. But if you wake up one day and you say, okay, I'm going to do it all, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to eat right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you're not going to do any of it. Okay? So pick something that is manageable. Try one little thing at a time, and before you know it. You know, when I went to my first yoga class, I was already in my 60s when I started doing yoga. And I mean, certainly I didn't stand on my head. Okay? Mm-hmm. So just pick something and try it. And try it. You might like it.
You might. That's great advice. Dr. Judy, thank you so much for joining us. You're certainly someone I would consider a mentor and a goal for Aging Awesomely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sherrie.
We love featuring people in the Ohio Valley 65 and older who are living a vibrant, healthy life, just like Dr. Judy. So if that someone is you, or someone you know, reach out to us with your suggestions. Who knows, you just might be the next person we feature in Aging Awesomely.
And that's a wrap on this edition of For Mature Audiences. We certainly hope that you walk away with great information and some inspiration too. And remember, our goal is to keep you in the know of issues and services that relate to people as they age. So if there is a particular subject or topic that you would like to see us cover, just send us an email. We would love to hear from you.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you again next month.